I always wait until the circle thing finishes, even though then there's just a few moments of silence right before. As always, the first question, or if you're new here, this is always the first question. Can you hear me? Even though I can see the mic doing things, I never believe. I have no trust because rule number one is trust no one. So I know I said that I would be announcing these things more in advance, but you also know that I think that to announce them is cursed. So I put it in the tab right before. So that's kind of like announcing it. We're nearly there. We're getting there. I can't tell you how excited I am about this poll function. I've seen other people posting polls, and now finally I too can post polls. YouTube has decided that I am worthy of polls. Now I can see how they work and everything. This is very cool. I know, Rainbow Warrior. I got Rainbow Warriors commenting on the angle. I got an actually decent angle going on for once. It's amazing. I will never be able to replicate it. No cats tonight. The cats are deep asleep. So I figured that 2022, I almost said 2023. I'm like, we're not there yet. 2022 is coming to an end. So why not do one more live stream, one just kind of round up, chit chat. There was a video I was thinking of doing, but then got distracted by soft serve. So I'm probably not going to film it, which was a bunch of videos that almost happened and then didn't. I had a whole list of them and everything. And then I discovered soft serve. And at first I thought soft serve was just going to be one of those shorts, like, oh, this is just whatever, just a quick 1 minute thing. But no, it turned out to be so much deeper. And I found so much more information than I needed. So I was like, a whole video for the world. We're going to do that. So I filmed that today. We'll see when that gets edited. A bunch of people thought that the looking back at the videos I've done over the year was the last video of the year. And now looking at that, I can understand why, but it was not. That was never my intention. But I can see why it would come across like that. Okay. So what are we doing? Waiting for people to roll on in and catch up. And also I can like this poll, I have the control is like to just stop it abruptly. I also have an option to start a Q&A, but I don't know what that means or I want to do that. I'm like, but you can just ask me questions anyway. I don't know. Another time, I'll stop finagling with the little features down there that they've given me. I'm way too excited about the behind the scenes features over there on the chat. I mean, I wish I was talking about ice cream. TV rocks. Well, whatever happened to enjoying pixels? I'm getting back to it. It was it's just juggling everything and stuff. That's part of also the reason I haven't live streamed in a bit. Just feeling well enough at night to live stream has been a bit of a journey. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, live stream, I want to see the baby. And I'm like, it's not time yet. It's too early. We're still too early. 6 weeks, 6 more weeks. And even then, no, not on camera. Oh. Favorite flavor of ice cream. Yes, let's have some wholesome ice cream content. Oh, best and worst comics of the year. You see, I see so many people doing that list. And the reason I ended up doing like what I ended up doing, what I'm going to do tonight is just that I don't feel like I read enough. Is that am I being too hard on myself? I'm like, I don't feel like I read enough to give a definitive best and worst. Like when I think best and worst, I think of some, I don't know, some kind of library of a person who read like absolutely everything or almost everything, at least maybe of one company or one brand. I don't know. I just feel like I haven't read enough for like the best and the worst because so much of what I read wasn't even from this year. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be a very inclusive or eclectic enough list. Like there was so much that came out this year and I only scratched the surface. So to do like best and worst, I feel like I'd automatically be leaving so many things to the side. Oh, Ray Farr, thank you very much for the super chat. Woo, hi. Question. Why is it canon that the super family is weak to magic? Like it's magic. Shouldn't all non-magic users be weak to magic? I get that reasoning. I think the reason that they highlight Superman as weak to magic so much when they do it, because they don't always, is because comparatively, he's not weak to many other things. So when something like that happens, it really stands out. It's like, whoa, like weak to magic. No, Canada is not a where I am is not a frozen solid ice land. Em Drew one. It was greatly exaggerated in some parts. It was not frozen here at all. It was a regular amount of snow. Oh. So yeah, I thought I would put up this poll of like who read Dark Crisis because I was just curious because I was like, I don't want to launch into chatting about an event that people hadn't, really read. I don't think a lot of people did read it. I'm not surprised. It very much for me fell into like it was a thing I just read, but I also saw some people who did say this was the first event they'd ever read and it was really exciting for them. So I was just curious. I wanted to know where people were on that kind of thing because everybody's at such a different point in their comic book journey and they may not have read every single crisis. Like a sane person. No, I didn't get the Stanley birthday special as of yet. It's funny because I just not just, it feels like just did the Stanley Batman. I guess it was a few months ago. Everything feels like it just happened. When I went back to go through all of those videos to search for the ones that were my favorites, some of them felt like I just done them 2 weeks ago, and other ones I'd completely forgotten about. Oh, Dick Crisis. I see you down there, Benj. Crisis of Infinite Dicks? Is that what we're saying? Oh. So I'll go through some of what was going to happen and has not happened and what may still and what may not, at least to get started on our chat of the evening for however long we end up going. However long I can breathe for, that's usually how long I go for now. I'm talking a bit slower in videos now because I can't breathe. And some people are like, I'm so glad you're talking slow. And I'm like, I can't breathe. uh, so one of the things I was going to do this year was there was a series of DoorDash comics that were released. They were giveaways at a con. It's not uncommon for there to be some kind of tie-in or I don't want to say merch. Merch is the wrong word, but just some kind of promotion that happens. But they did a whole little DoorDash thing with Marvel, and they think they called them like Dashies or something, and they made them superheroes. And for a hot minute, I was really amused and entertained by it. And then that minute just it went away. It went away. And by the time it was gone, I was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Is this something anybody actually cares about, or is this something that I'm just amused about? Maybe that's something that should have been a short. But at the time, I was like, shorts, not really into them. Now that would be the perfect short. Oh, Rayfar, thank you very much. Also want to say thank you for all the content you put out this year. You and Comic Pocket were my fave channels this year. Peace and love. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I feel like I should have put out more content. When I was going through, I was like, these rookie numbers, 3 videos a day. But it was a pretty good year. I'm hoping we'll see how the content goes next year. I'll have a young one again, so we'll see exactly how much content gets put out. But on the whole, I was happy with what I put out this year. I didn't get to all of the big videos, but it was still a good time. Oh, the other thing I was gonna do was for Halloween, I was going to do a lot more scary stuff than I ended up doing. One of them was this graphic novel called Beautiful Darkness. But the first thing I did that month was the Red Mother one. And that one was so like middlingly received. I was like, okay, this is fun for me. And I know the people who are watching it are enjoying it, but I can only play with the algorithm so much. So maybe Beautiful Darkness will have to wait for another time. And also it was a very, like very, very dark kind of story. And I was like, I don't know if people would appreciate how dark this story is. Like dead kids is a lot. So maybe let's stick to something a bit more generically horrifying for the moment. Yes, it was called The Dashers. Thank you, Levi. I totally forgot it was like the Dashies. I'm thinking about Octonauts because that's on in my house all the time, and Dashie is one of the Octonauts. Shout out for people who have had to watch the Octonauts. It's actually not bad. The Octonauts is pretty good in terms of children's fare. I would take the Octonauts over Paw Patrol or some definitely over. I would take so much over Paw Patrol. Octonauts over Blippy, 100%. Blippy, no Blippy in this house. Uh, there was one. Okay, here are some of the ones that were actually Bluey's great. Here are some of the ones that were actually filmed, but did not I didn't edit. So one of them was this comic was a banned Superman comic where it's a very Looney Tunesy style comic where Superman is a baby and gets a babysitter. Think that opening sketch of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but with Superman and all these horrible things are happening, of course, because he has superpowers. So all these really dangerous things are happening that would be for a normal baby, but he's Superman, so he's fine. But but I filmed it and I just felt there wasn't enough meat on it. When I was looking through the footage, it was just, oh, there's not enough here. I couldn't find enough corroborating stuff to make it interesting or quotes or why ultimately ended up being banned. It was just all this vagary. So it just kind of sat there. And in one of those vain moments, it was one of those ones where I was like, ah, I liked I liked the outfit, but I'm not going to edit this video. The other video I didn't edit was another Superman video. It was Superman Blue. There's a reason, which was because it was a very short Superman Blue video. I didn't go very into depth into it, and I felt that era just deserved more in depth. Like it deserved its whole own retrospective. And at the time, I had just done the Lori Lamaris video. And so I had been hanging out in the triangle era of Superman, which I know some people are very fond of from that time period, but and I've had they're not fights, but they're disagreements online with people who are like, "No, it was a super easy era to follow. Triangle so easy, just intuitive." I'm like, maybe it was easy if you were reading it at the time and were prepared for exactly what everything was. But if you're tracking it back, I find the triangles just a nightmare. I absolutely hate it. I hate the triangles. I don't find it intuitive at all. Boo, no more. There is a Philip Kennedy Johnston interview where he was talking about bringing back the triangles. He was also talking about bringing back the mailbox. And I was like, mailbox sounds great. Triangles, no, never again. Even though I'm following it from now, so it would make sense to me, but no, because I'm just imagining I'm like 10 years from now or 15 when people go back to read these triangles, because that's the long term scope clearly. But obviously at the time, that's not the mindset. It's just we need to make these things line up. But so the idea of sifting through for all of the Superman Blue stuff through the triangle era, just at the time, I was like, no, fam, not into it. Not into it right now. And now John is going to be blue, it looks like. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing I waited because that's gonna, now is the time. It's come back around. It's, that's what happens when you wait. Sometimes it it becomes relevant again. So I'm glad that I didn't ultimately edit that. That piggybacks off of another video that did not happen because the Superman Blue video happened because of a video that was actually 2 years ago that I thought was this year, but it wasn't. And it was the original Superman Red and Blue, not the Elseworlds, they didn't call them that then, the Imaginary Stories one. And I remember because that video I got a lot of a pushback about being, what was it, like just really cynical, just being a very cynical person and not appreciating that, that how we gonna call it, that kind of energy, that kind of happy ending energy. And so some people were like, no, this was the first story to ever do something like this. It was the first Elseworlds to have a happy ending. And so it sent me down this deep dive into Elseworld stories, imaginary stories. And so I ended up at the imaginary story where Lex actually kills Superman. And I don't know, because there's something wrong with me. I had more fun with that than Superman Red and Blue, and I was gonna do that, and I didn't end up doing it. But I will at some point because that story's hilarious, and you know I love old Silver Age fare so much. Nick Barrucci, thank you so much. Just wanted to say thanks for all the great content you drop all year. Glad I caught this one live. Belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. A belated Merry Christmas to you and upcoming Happy New Year as well. Thank you very much. I am getting to more Vampirella fare soon. Also, there's actually a really fun crossover that I am reading right now, and it is the another because it's happened before. Army of Darkness and Reanimator. If there's anything Reanimator related, I'm there. I'm always so there for it. I'm that person who's like, Reanimator? Oh my goodness. That was one I didn't get to this Halloween, which I was sad about. I do have the little Reanimator comic and I didn't get to it because Halloween month just it flew by so fast. And I also played with doing some adaptation stuff, which was fun. It was fun to review that Smallville episode, for example, with the thirsty vampires, which was a bit of a redundant title, but it worked on a couple of levels. But yes, back to that Superman story. It was not the first happy ending Elseworld story. And it was one of those things where at the time I had like it wasn't salt, but it was like, no, we can have one of those nerdy debates like on a forum. I have found the first. And then again, it was just like time moved on and I forgot about it. I can see why people really appreciate that story. But I don't see it as a good cap off to the ending of the Silver Age, though. uh, all right. I think we've left. Have we left the poll up for long enough? No, we'll leave it up for a full half hour. We'll leave it up for a full half hour. Oh, right. DC versus Vampires ended. Yes, it did. I keep going back and forth as to whether or not I'm going to hop back on that train or not. I don't know. In the video I did where I talked about my favorite videos, and one of them is DC versus Vampires number 3, which was, well, it's ending. It's like we're nearly free. And I just remembered how much fun I was having. And it's just sometimes like, oh, could I have that much fun with it again? I don't know. I don't know if I could ever achieve that level of We're the Same, You and I. Oh, speaking of We're the Same, You and I put this in the title, so I might as well hold it up, which is the Green Lantern Renegade. This is just the first one. The other one's on my shelf, but I didn't feel like grabbing it. This one was out because I was rereading it. He's very reflective. I'm so sorry. I don't know. The printing on this cover is not great, and so the light beams come across more like striations than they should. But this was the end of the New 52 Green Lantern before we went into Rebirth. And I posted a couple of stills from with long-haired Hal. And can I say, some of y'all thirsty. There was so many like, wow, what a look. Who is that? And it just made me laugh because I was like, stop it. Don't prove Silver Age Hal right. One of the things about Silver Age Hal was he was convinced that every woman wanted to sleep with him, or just every person. I was just like, stop it. Stop proving him right. He grew his hair out. Everybody just fell down dead. But I was rereading it and I was taking notes and everything. So I guess this is also potentially in the realm of videos that didn't happen. But I was taking notes and everything. And then I was like, this is much more boring than I remember the first time I read it. I guess the best way to characterize this arc would be if someone gave you notes on Hal, but they only give you 2 notes. And those notes read Space Cop and Star-Lord. And then you ran and had to write a series from that is very much the energy that the first bit of this series has. But it's not as entertaining as that sounds, unfortunately. At least not to me. I'll see. Maybe as I get more and more into it again, and when he gets back to Earth and the parallax stuff, I'll feel reinvigorated to revisit it a bit more. But at the moment, it would mostly be me just be like, yeah, look, his hair's long. The costume's nice, isn't it, guys? I'm like, that's not the most entertaining, or is it? I don't know. Maybe it is. Oh, TV Rockwell, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Another thing that was going to happen was this was a spinoff. So I did the first issue of the New Fantastic Four run by Ryan North. And I'm pointing over there as if it's sitting directly beside me. It is not. But the second issue came out, and it's the Reed and Sue issue where there's all those Doom bots everywhere. And I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's not revolutionary or anything, but I thought it was an enjoyable issue. But at the top, they bother to add in Sue's doctorate. There's like, oh, Dr. Sue Storm Richards. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing that they retconned in years later because they decided that her being a model was problematic. So, and some people commented on it, didn't know when that had happened. It had very much been like an off the page like panel, like a retcon that they'd done to make her more acceptable. There were quotes. I found them actually. They weren't hard to find. They were on the way back because they were on a forum that doesn't exist anymore. Like so many forums, but that's all right. That's what the way back is for. And so I found Geek Filter, thank you very much. And Geek Filter says that's the most reflective Hal has ever been. Within a month. You know what? That's funny. I appreciate that. But I was going to go into the history of how and why Sue got this doctorate, but I was just like, it felt like it was going to be like a saltier video and a less fun salty video because sometimes, okay, for those who do not know, I'm 8 months pregnant. I feel like I'm talking about it way too much. I'm so sorry about that, but it's just something that's happening in my life right now. And so sometimes I get saltier than I normally would about things. I'm just like, the salt is too much. This is like, there's a human amount of salt, and then there's being amped up by like hormone salt. So we got to keep it at our regular level. And I was like, I don't know if I'd have as much fun with that video right now. So let's put it on the back burner for a time when it can be a bit more fun. I love that some people are like, Hal had long hair. It's still being there in the chat. Oh, you need to see the pics? I've got the pics. I even have my book. I'm bad. I know. I need bookmarks. I need to use proper bookmarks. I'm so bad. Oh, actually, it's right there. Look, it's cascading in the. Let me stop caressing it. God, let me find a better picture of it. Ugh. Yeah, this is the one I posted. It's right here. This is the one I posted. What a look, right? It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not overly memorable in terms of arcs, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, let me know like if you really remember it or not. Here's Black Hand. Just, there you go. Benjamin Hall, thank you very much. Superman is very overpowered currently. People always say that about Soups. Soups is about to get his secret identity back. He did this week. I have not read that yet, but I have it bookmarked to read. I skimmed it. I skimmed through. There's almost hope they might do something interesting with Jay Nakamura, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So that was see, that's the salt. See, that's the salt that we're talking about. It just spills through in random moments. I've been trying to keep up. I've been trying to keep up with some more Marvel things, but there haven't been as many things that I've been as interested in reading just at the moment. I was skimming the solicitations when I was thinking about doing that video. And admittedly, okay, we're gonna get real honest here right now, just between us. Part of it was I want to read everything. And even though I had a better organization system going than for the DC solicitations one, I was like, okay, this is perfection. Look at these bins. Look at these folders. Look at this organization. It's great. I'm going to take a picture of it and send it to somebody who cares, which aren't many people. And then I was going through, but I got to the Star Wars section. I was like, I don't have anything to say about any of these. I have zero emotional connection to these books. And I feel like they'd be really boring to have that just been like, here are the books. So I was like, I need to figure out a way to make this interesting and compelling because it needs to be. So it's like TBD. We'll come back to that. But Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange with the nice trippy art, Even though some people feel it's AI looking, I don't think it is. I think it's just got a very reminiscent. It's not Ditko-esque, like it's not going that hard, but it has the reminiscence of some of those older, more psychedelic styles. That one, uh, Black Cat and MJ. Even though I did admittedly lose a decent amount of interest, and I was like, MJ's got powers now, and I'm like, I know it's temporary, but I just stop. Cat Summer, please, please, please. Oh, Cat Someday One. I can't read tonight. I'm so sorry. Please, please, please do Blue and Gold in 2023. That did come out. I love Booster, and I completely forgot about that. What I was doing Booster Gold wise lately was okay. So the arc after 52, not the new 52, 52, the event where the whole run, I want to get it. I want to get it. I keep looking at eBay and like nobody has the whole thing. So it's like I think the most I found was issues 1 to 33 and they were together. But then everything else was individual and I was like I know myself. If I start I won't be able to stop. It will be like, oh, 1 to 33 and it'll just eat me. I'll be up at night like there's only 1 to 33. I'm like, don't start it. Don't even open the door. Some doors, you just need to not open. Just keep it closed. Otherwise, it'll be a problem. Like one day we'll have that run. They've never collected it. I feel like that's the only reason I'm waiting for a Booster Gold movie is because then maybe someone somewhere will feel like they need to collect that run and then I can have it. It's not altruistic at all. Are there any runs like that for you that you're waiting for? You're like, come on, just collect it just for me. Oh yeah, the Hallows Eve character. I like the design of that, and the covers were pretty. But that was one of the ones where I was liking the covers more than the concept. There's a throwback, Lethal Protector 2, which just made me want to talk about Lethal Protector 1. Lethal Protector 2, though, that's just that harkens back to exactly when that was, the 90s. It's just such a perfect 90s name. It's amazing. Oh. All right. It's been up long enough. It had 31 minutes of the poll, and the result was 81% said they did not read Dark Crisis, and 19% said yes. I love the poll feature. I enjoy this feature. I'm going to write a letter to YouTube. Enjoy. It's kind of cool. And I'm like, ooh, what else can I? I have another one. Let me put another one. It's called Engage with Your, I don't know why I put quotes. That is what it says. It says start poll. Let your viewers weigh in. What are you reading more of? I'm having way too much fun with this. And one more option. There we go. Oh, why did I make that noise? That is not a pool noise. What is that? But Ben Chan, thank you very much. Now, Renegade Hal could have had a three-way with Huntress and Zinda. Look at that airflow. So many of the jokes in my life that I reference come from moments with Hal Jordan in comics. I don't know what that says about me or how to feel about that. Oh, this was another video that almost happened. I have the comic right here. This was one of the comics that a viewer was kind enough to send to me. It is a Crisis tie-in and is meant to be kind of a bookend for Supergirl after she dies in Crisis. Also, so Dark Crisis, I've been just calling it that because that's what it was called. And then they changed the name to Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I had somebody come at me and be like, you call it by its full name, like it deserves. Like, no. But in this, it's another secret marriage issue. And I was thinking about it, but I was like, I feel like I do too many secret marriages. I feel like that's like a weird niche to fall into. You don't want to, is it niching up or niching down when you get too niche? It's one of the two, because I know both phrases are there. So let me know. Is it when you niche up? Is that when you get too insular, or is it when you niche down? I don't know why that's insular. It's like the power. I love the power glove. It's so bad. I was gonna make that joke in the Green Lantern because he has a gauntlet. And so I was gonna get to use the power glove clip, but now it probably won't happen. Thank you. Up. Okay. I knew it was one of them. Here's another thing that didn't happen. It was and it was an X-Men. It was a retro X-Men. We were going to go back to the Silver Age of the X-Men because that's something that I have. That is over there, so the pointing is accurate. It was issue 4 where they create the Blob just by being horrible. And I still think that would be fun to do. It's just one of those ones that I feel will be very out of left field. And so sometimes YouTube doesn't appreciate that too much. It depends because sometimes the algorithm is tweaked for something. And I know why it's been tweaked lately, but it's messing up a lot of things because coming in January, so in a couple of days, they are revamping how they handle payment for shorts. And so that's just trickling down and having all kinds of strange effects in the back end. It's one of those things that I wish more people were interested in because I'm like, no, it can get real strange back here. Oh, speaking of like sagas with YouTube, there was so I talked about the flatline thing with the age restriction, which just got left into the ether. It's nowhere near as bad as some of the stuff that happens on YouTube. Like check out poor Hutz's videos about not being paid for 5 months and just being trapped in like payment hell. But there was okay, so it was the first Fantastic Four video. For some reason, it just stopped tracking views. It just stopped acknowledging them. Like they were happening, but it just stopped paying attention to them. I was like, okay, tech support. So I contacted tech support and I was like, hey, why? And they were like, so on it. Do you want us to continue to message you in your email? And I was like, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not that invested in it, but yes, I would please fix. And so it fixed itself within, I think, a day. I don't know if they fixed it or it just fixed itself or what happened there. But let me tell you how you can tell that nobody is actually real at YouTube. I still get emails from a person claiming to be a person, claiming that they're looking into it and not to worry, and the team is on it, and they're signed by a real person. I'm like, yes, Mr. Totally a real person and in no way a bot. YouTube, good times. Balls Monkey, thank you very much. Any TMNT comic reviews or videos planned? Happy New Year. Nothing planned currently. Sometimes I flirt with the idea. Also, I flirt a lot with the Scooby-Doo idea just because I like Scooby-Doo. I'm a bigger fan of Scooby-Doo than the person should be. I kind of missed the TMNT boat, honestly. It just was something that I didn't get too into. And I haven't found myself falling into it. Same with like Transformers or things like that. Like my brother's so into Transformers. He's like, you need to get in there and do the and I'm like, that's your thing. That's not my thing. I'm going through my list. Oh, okay. So you know all those like YA graphic novels? This one was even younger. This was like the kids graphic novels. And this one I picked up and I was bad and I read it in the comic book store while I was there with my daughter because it was just a very, it wasn't the biggest thing to skim it, but it was, what was it called? My Friend Killer Croc. And I nearly talked about it just because that was an odd little comic. It wasn't bad, but I can tell you it didn't hold the interest because my daughter picked it up and flipped through it and it was just like, and that's how I ended up reading it. And the kids in it did not talk like kids and stuff like that, but I was like, it's not that interesting in my opinion. I'm like, if I can barely summon the interest for it, I don't know if it will be able to maintain, but who knows? You never know. You never know. You never know. It might happen. But like, I don't know. That's wow, so articulate. I'm so articulate tonight. I have a drink, but I'm afraid to drink it because I don't know. There we go. There's so much ice in it. That's why. So I was afraid I was gonna make like a really awkward, like ice smacking sound, like a really unappealing ASMR, but it didn't. So that's good. That's good that that did not happen. Another video that did not happen was the Red Hood webtoon. I'm normally all up on covering the DC webtoons as they come out. And for some reason with that one, I just didn't. There wasn't a reason. Like sometimes there's a reason. This time it just there was no reason. It just did not happen. And some people even asked about it. And I don't have an answer. I really don't. Ah, what are you reading more of? Okay. I'm not surprised that this poll is skewing more DC because I tend to cover more DC. It's genuinely not intentional, but it happens. It just does. No, no, Red Hood does have his own webtoon. It's Red Hood and the Outlaws. It's not bad. I read it. That's the thing. I'm subscribed to it on my phone and everything. I don't know why I didn't talk about it. I have no idea why I didn't. It just did not happen. Another thing that just did not happen was comparing all of the content, the DC content, with the title Joker's Wild, which is a decent amount because they keep reusing that title. I had covered everything. I had assembled the comics. I had assembled the tie-ins because a couple of them were tie-ins. I had assembled the episodes that I needed, and I just didn't do it. I really should have. That's one where I'm like, why did I not do that? I put so much effort into it and then just didn't and got distracted. Ugh. There we go. The radioactive nail polish from the Blight video is off. That one doesn't stay on too long. It's so thick that you can just kind of peel it off with your hand after. The formula to make it that bright is super thick. Ryan Johnson, thank you very much. Aquaman Andromeda was very good. Would love to see your take on it. Keep up the great content. Happy New Year. I only have the first issue of that one. I didn't keep up with it. I need to finish that one off. I found the first issue interesting, but I didn't end up returning to it. And I need to because it was prestige. And I'm like, I can't just have one of these. It needs to be complete or it'll bother me. But so are all of you looking forward to 2023? Do you think it's going to be a good year heralding good things in general in comics and anything like that? Just let me know. You know? I'm looking forward to 2023. There are a couple things comic wise I'm kind of looking forward to, you know. There are some things that I think will be fun to read, that and some releases and omnis that I'm hoping to be able to get my hands on. I've got an omni fund and I'm hoping to be able to take a little bit of it and get the Silver Age Adam Strange omni. That'll be fun because I want to go through some of those old ones because I got back into it when I was going through the Space Cabbie retrospective research, because Space Cabbie kind of gets knocked out when Adam Strange takes over and becomes more popular. So yeah, I do want to see Spider-Verse across the Spider-Verse this time, not into it, across it. But that looks like fun. And I really like the design they gave to Miguel, to 2099 Spider-Man. I think it looks really cool. Just the designs in that in general. And it'll be fun to see the Spot and all of that stuff. When that trailer dropped, so many people came back to my Spot video and were like, you see, he's not lame. And I was like, I didn't say he was lame in the video. That was just the title. The title was too effective. It was too good. Let me see. I haven't read any of Miracle Man, the Silver Age. I'm about to say something sacrilegious, but Miracle Man is not my favorite thing. So I haven't really looked into it. Oh, yes. The Resident Evil 4, and they kept the Leon kick, which is dope. That's what matters. If Leon doesn't do a spin kick, then we don't even need the game. There are a couple of games that I hope to have time to play. I doubt it. I am going to get back into playing content for enjoying pixels. I think I just need to set a schedule of one a week and not burn myself out like I did the last time when I was like, oh, I'm just so into it. I need to accept how tired I am, which is always very, very hard for me. Like, I can't accept it. I just want to do everything all the time, and it's too much. I need to set a proper schedule and stick to it. Ben Chan, thank you very much. Space Cabbie retrospective, 3 words that have never been used together in human history. And I've said them several times now. It's going to happen. It's fun. You know, some of those old Space Cabbie issues are actually highly entertaining. When he comes back, I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, ooh, Vogue. But when he comes back, he's not quite the same. They Star-Lord him up a lot when they bring him back. And I'm like, no, he was just a regular guy in a cap trying to make his way across the universe. Dante Cook, thank you very much. Am I the only one burned out on current comics? I've started going back to 90s and aughts. Oh God, I said aughts and aughts comics. And I'm having so much fun with them. It's nice being able to just pick up something and it's not a big event. Happy New Year. The events can be a lot. And I guess circling back to Dark Crisis, because that was the last full event I read. I dipped in and out of acts over at Marvel or AXE, whatever we were supposed to call it. I never know what we're supposed to call those events now because I always have multiple acronyms. But Dark Crisis was an odd event for me because they separated it from the rest of the line. And so on the one hand, it should have been like, I understand the logic. The logic behind it is, oh, that's a good thing. That people can just keep reading what they're reading and no one's going to feel burnt out or forced into it. But because of that, it made the actual event feel very much like a non-event and like it didn't have as much weight and like it didn't matter as much. And I felt like that really culminated in the ending of it, where it did have several moments that were just very abrupt, like Rose running up to her dad and being like, "Dad, stop fighting," and Deathstroke being like, "Okay." uh, so it's I don't know if I'm burned out from events, or I feel like the way that they're marketing them and handling them and labeling everything as an event is a bit manipulative, because when you actually get into it, you can tell it's not really an event, it's an arc. It's just a story arc that they've decided to put the name on the front, and then at the end that'll be a nice thing to call the trade. So like, we'll see, because we're supposed to launch right into Lazarus Planet in January, and there's more coming later on. And it does, I do know what you mean, Dante, about it feeling like it's just too much to keep up with. And I feel like that's because a lot of us who collect or have the tendency towards collecting habits, you want to keep up with everything. And so it adds this pressure that's not even really, it's just kind of internal, just based on the type of person that you are. So I can totally understand what you're talking about. And sometimes it is just easier to go back and check out something that is complete. So I was actually rereading, it's right beside me, because I was rereading White Knight. Oh my God, why is everything so reflective? Just like, blah. I was rereading White Knight because I was catching up on Beyond the White Knight because of the Blight video that I was doing. So I was like, oh, I should go back and reread the first one. I haven't read it in a while. But that was interesting to go back and reread it and compare it to Beyond the White Knight, which is interesting. It has its moments. There's no break anymore. Yeah, I get that. There is no break, and there's so many. There's a lot of comics. There, like, going through those solicitations was a bit shocking. I guess shocking isn't quite the right word, but it was surprising, because I knew that there were a lot of comics. Like, I see them on the shelf. I hear people talking about them sometimes, though not as much as, I would like. And to just have them all listed out like that was very much eye-opening to see how much content is out there, basically. Actually, that brings up another question I was going to ask. I was going to do it in another kind of casual video, but I didn't feel like it was big enough to warrant a whole video on it. But it was a question surrounding news. because Dark Crisis has got me thinking about a lot of things. I keep coming back to it. I'm gonna have to change my title and put it in there. I'm talking about it so much. But one of the things that made me think about was, how do you get your news, or do you get news about comics that are coming out or changes in the status quo that get you hyped? Like, how do you keep track of just all the stuff that is out there, or do you? So that's a genuine question that I want to know, because I know that if I did not do this channel and I was just collecting in the way that I used to collect before I started it, or before when I worked with Nerd, that which forced you to kind of have to keep up with everything. Before that, I would not have been keeping up as intensely. So how are y'all keeping up with stuff? Oh, comic book resources and newsarama. See, but I find they don't cover a lot of comic stuff, really. I don't. Meow Nian, thank you very much. How long do you think DC will keep using the Wildstorm characters in their main line before sadly forgetting they exist again? I say 1 to 2 years. Frowny face. Yeah, I can see that burning out pretty quickly. I can see a lot of the characters burning out pretty quickly, which is unfortunate, because some of them I like either seeing again, or some of them I like, and it would be nice to see something done with them. I see they're trying a bit again with Yara, and I'm like, please try a bit with Yara. Like, Yara has potential. Some of them have very strong potential, but there's just so many. I was reading Jeff Johns's Golden Age, and just going through how many characters there are, I'm like, there are a lot of them. Like, even if you wanted to, with all the best intentions, to craft a story that could do them all justice is just 2,000 pages at least. So a lot of you are saying that, I don't know if this is root beer or Coke, and I just realized I don't know what it is. That's disconcerting. But a lot of you are saying you get it from YouTubers and the like. I can see that. I actually don't. I watch a couple of YouTube comic book channels, but not that much. Most of my YouTube content is other things, since my own channel is a comic book channel. So I watch a lot of gaming content. A lot of gaming content. Ooh, or try on hauls. Try on hauls are fun. Clothes I'll never wear, or cosplays I'll never do. That's also very fun. I'm just catching up. It's scrolling down the side. One day I will let Amanda help me set up my stream yard, and it'll look nice, and there'll be other stuff. But that day is not today, sadly. It will happen. I don't know. I'm so happy with the angle that we've got going tonight. So I don't want to move anything. Nothing needs to change. Well, it's getting dark over there. Comics journalism is dead. You know what's dead? The video I was going to do on the first 6 issues of the Hulk before it got canceled, and then they rolled it into Tales to Astonish? Tales to Suspense, Tales to Astonish, Tales of something. The one where they introduced the leader. The one that he shared with Ant-Man. Giant Man. Which somebody pointed out on the Namor video. They were like, Ant-Man? Think about it. I was like, I am thinking about it now. Thank you very much. I love when people point out just little things like that. It's very, very fun. I'm very much looking forward to all of the Tales to Hulk. I'm very much looking forward to all the comments that are going to come on like the soft serve and some other videos that I have coming up. It's going to be a good time. Yes, I'm just going through to see if I wrote anything else on my list. I don't think that I did. There we go. Ooh, that's true, James Perez. Podcasts. If you have the time for podcasts, there are some decent podcasts out there that talk about this kind of stuff for sure. How do you listen to podcasts? Like, do you, like, throw it on in the background? Do you really dedicatedly, like, sit and listen to it? Because are those the only 2 options? I don't know. Let me go back up here. Oh, this poll is pretty, like, it's getting a bit more even, but it's still on the DC side of things. On my commute, I don't go anywhere. So that's not true. I just don't go anywhere far, especially not now. I could explode. Oh, I don't know how you can do that while doing homework, Cougar 5. I could never do that. I would always get distracted, and I would find myself starting to type the sentences that I was listening to. Like, if I was writing an essay or something, I would find that I was just, putting it in there. I can't be doing that at the same time. Mm. Mm. So a lot of background peeps. Podcasts are always fun. It's always tempting to start one, even though I feel like everybody and their brother has a podcast at this point. But it would be fun to just chat about maybe, what came out that week or what was read or that kind of stuff. That would be cool. Because every week I do read something, you know, different. And it would be kind of cool to have a place to highlight that in a kind of more, I was going to say, casual format. Oh, yes. Gabrielle Luna, the Talkville podcast. I love the Talkville podcast so much. I loved Smallville. So love. So that's a very fun podcast to listen to. Ooh, yeah, I'm liking all the recs that you people are putting in the that's very fun. There are lots of podcasts. I will not have time to listen to them all, but it's very cool to see what's out there. That's always very exciting. I find the podcasting realm very fun, especially when people get into making it more like a radio show, and they add all the old sound effects. There was an AM channel when I was younger that would play a bunch of those old radio broadcasts that were radio serials. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was so cool. And I think there's so much potential still in that genre. It's part of also why I like when Webtoon allows you to add the music. People take advantage of that and they actually add music to scenes and stuff. I'm like, you can do so much with these different multimedia methods. It's so fun when people take advantage of it and do something with it. I'm catching up with all of you. Was it an obscure CBC channel? No. No, it was not. CBC wouldn't have anything cool like that on it. Sorry, that was Canadian shade for Canadian specific shade. If you know, you know. Film reviews. I'm big on people who review really obscure, random B movies and cult films. Those are my jam. I love watching those so much. That was a thing. Oh, yeah. Speaking of things that didn't happen, I just remembered. I was gonna do the Super Sons movie, a Super Sons, movie review. I still might if there is interest for it. It's just one of those things where it flitted out. This whole stream is making me sound so flighty, but it really did fall out of my head. That happens a lot, recently. Brief, tiny moment of venting, very small. That's one of the hardest things I find personally about being pregnant is the pregnancy brain, as they call it. It's a kind of fog, and I forget a lot of things very easily. And I find it frustrating. Sometimes I bring it up. I brought it up, I think, in a video, and some people are like, "Oh, that's how my brain always is," and I'm like, "That's not how my brain always is." So I find it very frustrating. So that is something that bothers me. That and crying over nothing is very sad. I cried today because I couldn't reach a boot. So oh, that was sad. That was so sad. Nothing will be as sad as the time I cried in my first pregnancy because I asked for my husband to bring home pie and he brought home a piece of cake, and I saw it, and I burst into tears and said, "Cake's not pie." Oh, awful. Just awful. Oh. Do you have a fan cast for the upcoming Superman? I do not. I do not. I just know that I am not excited to potentially deal with another origin. I know Darkwing Duke. Cake is not pie. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all. It's like when you want a certain food, you want it to be that food. It was so silly. So very, very silly. New poll, cake versus pie. You know what? I actually am gonna do that. I'm gonna use the powers of fan engagement that YouTube has given me to put that poll up. Cake, pie. There we go. This is what the poll was made for, clearly. They're gonna take the poll feature away from me. They're gonna be like, this is why. This is why she couldn't have the poll. What kind of cake? You decide. We're gonna play like one of those games where they give you options. You decide. The cake is what you want it to be. The cake is not a lie. The cake is whatever cake your heart desires it to be. So, is it red velvet? Like, is it proper red velvet, or is it like fake red velvet where they just use dye? I want red velvet with beets in it. But Nightwing cake. uh okay, listen. I like Nightwing. I do. He is up there in terms of one of my favorite characters. Not much has been done with him lately, but I do like him. But that whole ending of it wasn't Infinite Crisis, of Dark Crisis, where he can contain the infinite darkness and stuff, it felt a bit unearned and fanish. Like a lot of fans talk about how like Nightwing's like the heart of like the DC universe, but I don't feel like that event earned it, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense at all. Nightwing, Cake, Black Raspberry. Return. Why are people talking about Return of the Joker, Mask of the Phantasm? Oh, Return of the Joker or Mask of the Phantasm. Ooh, that's hard. They're both really good. I'd go Mask of the Phantasm, but those are both absolutely excellent. Especially the first one, because I reread a bunch of the Batman Beyond stuff I have where they, in Rebirth, where they brought the Joker back and did a different Joker Returns arc, and it just, it was not the same. It was not the same in the slightest. Oh, is anybody reading Murder World or not? I was reading Murder World and I got into a very fun, like classic debate. It was just reminiscent of those old forum days where it's people arguing about whether or not this was inspired by Squid Game, and the people being like, nah, because this is so much older than Squid Game and Battle Royale and all that stuff. That was a very fun, classic style debate. That first issue was interesting, but it made me realize something. So there's this influx of creators using streamers or content creators as characters, but a lot of it is surface level. And I would argue Punchline goes a bit deeper, but even she flirts with when they actually engage with it. She has some of the more better portrayals of it, but a lot of them fall straight up into the "what up, it's your boy," and that's the genre I'm gonna call it because so many of the characters actually say that. It got to the point where I had to go back and look at all the new characters who I'd noticed have been introduced lately, and I think 4 of the 5 introduced their channels like that, and I was like, "Okay, did somebody have a meeting?" And they were like, this is how all channels introduce themselves. There's been a lot of evolution across content creation and how it's made over the years. Lots of stylistic changes. Like, have any of you noticed? It's been going on for quite a while now. But it used to be, it was a shameful thing to kind of show your microphone, like you'd hide it. It was off to the side. You had to be like super profesh and, all of that. But now people just hold the microphone right in front of them. And sometimes I see it And I'm just like, man, I could be holding my mic, but I already invested in this lapel. I'm just like, that could have been me holding a microphone. I have a big boom mic. I could have been holding it this entire time. The landscape of YouTube in particular, because that's where I am most of the time, is interesting in what's come in and out in terms of what's fashionable, in terms of like how you film and how you present yourself and all of that. It's interesting. And then of course it's not monolithic because across the different genres and spaces, different things are happening. That's why whenever you talk about YouTube, you can't talk about it that way because there's so many different sections. I'm like, okay, so YouTube. So you're talking about the people who go out into the like the forest and recreate like ancient recipes? Are you talking about the try-on people? Are you talking about the tech people? Like there's so many different we are a legion. There's so many different types of us. I blame iPhone interviewers or on TikTok normalizing microphone viewing. I like the holding of the microphone. Oh, holding a mic does get tiring, actually, if you hold it for a long time. But the thing is, I think, well, for one thing, holding the mic does a couple of things. One, you don't need to worry about finding a place to mount it, which can increase your range in terms of where you can film. And two, it gives you an option for something to it's like a comfort device. Like I don't know if you've ever had to speak in front of somebody or if you've been nervous and like sometimes people they'll have something that they do like they fidget in some way. So if you're one of those people, holding a microphone can be a really good way because now you have a thing you're holding and it's kind of grounding you. So I think for some people that can also add to confidence and they can gesticulate more and feel a bit more comfortable because they're holding it. That can be a good or a bad thing though, because then the mic can become a crutch. I mean, if you're looking to be a person who is very like gesticulating, I don't know. Carpal tunnel from holding the mic. Spider Girl, which one? There's more than one Spider Girl, just like there's more than one Spider Woman. And I think we're supposed to call Spider Gwen Ghost Spider now. I don't even know. Mayday. I like that James Bond is now just saying like all those classic YouTube things, like smash that like button. I don't know if any of you remember. Do you remember when they used to let you post polls on the side of YouTube? Now there are so many comments of like, click on the poll and it's not there anymore. And I'm like, oh man, YouTube, why? Why did you do this? There are so many things like that they've done where the feature just doesn't exist anymore. It's like, oh, that's so awkward. I know one day I'm waiting for the day they do it with the cards on the side. And I'm like, I have so many videos where I say click the card. It's coming for me. Like it's like a monster and it follows or something like one day. It's just gonna be there. The feature is gonna be gone. So many changes have happened over the years. It's a lot. It's a lot of a lot. Hmm. No, the click right up there thing works, but now it's not a big drop down thing anymore, Juan. It's like a little tab that comes out and you got to click the tabby thing to make it work. The features are very much oh gosh, I remember annotations and people would add all kinds of notes and stuff and now they're just not there. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that. Lots of the features are moving towards mobile devices because the majority of the viewership happens there. That's why YouTube pushed so hard with shorts and why they've actually made a very, in my opinion, smart decision to monetize them in the same way they monetize the main videos. It's going to incentivize a lot of people to make a lot more of them if they know that they're getting the same revenue share that they get from their main videos on their shorts. Sorry, just went like full business mode there for a moment. But that's one of the problems with TikTok is the monetization there is just atrocious. A lot of people there aren't really being paid. They're instead being paid in stuff. Like when you see all those try on hauls or makeup videos or anything, a lot of times they're just being paid in the stuff and the exposure or in the sponsorship deal to do the stuff, which is very different than the passive income that you generate or the potential to generate both. So yeah, TikTok's great for audience building, but it's not great for revenue building. uh I can see why people don't like shorts. I don't make them all the time, but they're fun for certain things that aren't big enough for a whole video. Because if you make a regular video and like the regular aspect ratio and all that, and let's say it's 4 minutes, YouTube completely deprioritizes it. So no one's going to see it. Whereas if you make a short, because it's in the aspect ratio that it likes, it'll prioritize it. And so at least people will see it in that way. Savannah Johnson. Yeah, see, I like doing the shorts for little tiny throwaway bits of information like that. Where there is kind of like quick, like, oh hey, did you know? Oh, speaking of speaking of that, because I do that, someone thinks I'm an AI bot. I got a comment. I was like, what is this AI talking about? I was like, I sound like an AI voice. That's awesome. Even though I don't think I do. But that's a fun idea to entertain. I'm like, what a career that would be. Just to like voice an AI somewhere. That'd be great. Like the Star Trek computer. But it made me laugh at least. Uh Yeah, the thing with if I really wanted to up my shorts game and be serious about it, because there are lots of things that you can do to up your game that I just don't do because I can't be bothered. But it's you put text on it so that it can be read with the sound off. Because most people, when they're scrolling through their phone, they got the sound off. So if you add the text, you increase the chance that people sitting and viewing your short. Yes, business, YouTube things. But oh. Cake is winning, but cake is winning not by as much as you may expect. We're 59% cake and 41% pie. So sweet or savory pie. The pie is what you want it to be. Is it a shepherd's pie? It's whatever pie. Oh, pie is overrated. I like all the shots being fired. But cake can be savory too, but it's less likely to be savory. I saw on one of those like Netflix shows once where the person made a savory cheesecake that was tomato and like balsamic vinegar. And I thought that actually sounded like a really good idea. I thought that sounded very, very interesting. I was pro the tomato cheesecake. Pizza pie. Ooh, strawberry rhubarb. It's hard to get rhubarb where I am, which is always sad because I do like that combination. Calzo. I'm loving the choices that are going on here. Oh gosh. So good. So good. Cheesecake is pie with a deceitful name. I argue that cheesecake is pie. Why? Why that argument? Tell me. Tell me. I want to hear why you would argue that cheesecake is pie. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Like I want to know. Everyone says piece of cake. No one says piece of pie. Same construction. Crust plus filling. Hmm. 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 But what about the toppings? Those count as icing? Like what if you top it? Like what if it's one of those like fruit like cheesecake ones? But what if it's a Japanese cheesecake? Because that has a very different consistency than your American style cheesecake. Because that one's a lot lighter and a lot fluffier and a lot more cake-like. So easy as pie. This is the best argument. This is the best. This is a fun way to talk about food. I was looking for food comics recently, but like fun Silver Age ones, not just random comics where people are eating for no reason, but like actual entire comics that center around food, like that issue with the cover where Superman has to eat all the hamburgers and stuff like that. So, and not hostess ones, not like the ads or anything like that, but like actual issues where it's about food. So that's been a quest for no reason. It's just something that I fell into. Chew is good. Ages ago, I did a video on chew when I used to do the You've Been Sleeping On for indie series that I had read. That was fun. I should do those again. Those were how I highlighted. Those are how I used to highlight some of my favorite series that I was really into. Like I did Chew, I did Astro City that way. Oh, I never did Black Sad. Maybe that would be a way to do Black Sad. I know new Black Sad came out recently. That would be a fun way to do it. For the ones that are complete, you know? That's the other thing. That's why I don't do as many indies, because I like to be able to, come back as they're complete. And I so rarely do. I'm just looking over to the side because I'm looking at all the other ones that I did or did not do. Good times. Good times. I'm excited. I'm excited for 2023 for all of the videos that we're going to have together. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot of longer form videos, so I might not post as often, but I really have found that I enjoy the longer form a lot. Like, I wouldn't say, I guess video essay style would be the way to best describe it, but I have a lot of fun working on and editing those. And I think that that's part of what it's about. And I hope that that comes through in how it's presented. Is Chew good? Uh, how you feel about Chew, I think a lot of it is going to come down to how you feel about the ending. So I feel like the ending of Chew polarizes some people. Origins of Donna Troy, part 3, part 5. But oh, that's the problem though with me, is that I enjoy everything. I'm like, I like making short. I like making long. I just like making videos. I like making videos, but from a technical perspective, I find the long form very satisfying. It's a good way to fulfill my editing needs. I love editing. Editing is my first love, and I love it forever. It was my job and it is my job, and this channel is a fun way to be able to get more creative and not have to stick to a corporate template or whatever it is that you're working with. History of the maestro. Why do I always pronounce it like that? How do you say maestro? Maestro or maestro? How do you say it? Why do I always ask people that? And then they have to spell it out in some way to make the phonetics, the phonics make sense. Ugh. See, that's exactly. Then people just spell it. Mysterio. Mysterio would be fun also to do. My MAI. It's obviously my yeah, you see? That's what I get a lot of. I did that to myself. So it's fine. I almost made that same Radiohead joke again because that's just a joke that I make in my regular life with my husband all the time. Good times. Oh, that was the last one on my list. I remembered it. I haven't gotten to it, and that was the marriage, the relationship of Aunt May and Doc Ock. I remember because at the time when I got into it, it was earlier in the pregnancy and I was a lot sicker. And so when I had pitched it, I had thought that it was going to be a quicker video than it ended up being. And so when I got into it, it was like, oh yeah, and this relationship came back and they referenced it again. And I was actually going into wanting to find all of the issues and track it. And I was like, this is a lot more than I anticipated. I'm going to have to put this on the back burner for a little bit. Mike Hunt, thank you very much. Recommendation. Glossium, new tech that makes all weapons obsolete appears on Earth. All global war is settled with fist fights. Martial artist Vladimir Putin is taking over the world with his fists. Glossium. Glossium. That's just fun to say. Glossium. Glossium. Some words are just fun. That would just be a fun word to have put on screen and just have people have to say it over and over and over again. Oh, thank you, Bio 1656. It was really fun to review that Alex Ross book. And I love it very dearly. It's actually not on the shelf right now because my daughter keeps taking it. So that's always fun. It's really interesting to see what she gravitates towards. Since then, she's also taken my Silver Age. I don't know how she lifted it. She's strong because she managed to lift it and grab it and carry it down because she's taken my Silver Age or the first like little bit of the Fantastic Four and she flips through it. She's very keen to see what's going on and everything. It really ignited an interest in her in it, which I'm kind of glad because she used to take my 90s Batman and I was less thrilled with that. She's like, I want the scary, spiky Batman. I'm like, I no. So it's nice to see her so interested. But of course, I mean, none of it is as interesting as Dogman. I mean, what can be? So Dogman is where it's at in terms of the comics. Somber B. Oh no, they know better. They know not to color on things. No coloring. Well, here's the thing. The trick is because at first I was like, you color on paper. And then I was like, no, let's amend that. You color on blank paper. Because if you say color on paper and then they color on a book, technically they listen to you. So, and like kids like to do that. They like to kind of like skirt, like, oh, you said color on paper. This is paper. So it's like, no, you got to be like really specific. You got to get really articulate. Oh, that is great. That is a wonderful faux pas. That needs to be taken and gift. That was beautiful. So that was so bad. It was perfect. What a time to mispronounce something. Absolutely fantastic. So oh, Cake's winning a bit more now, but not by much. Oh. I think this year that's there's definitely going to be more kids comics in my life. So I'm contemplating reviewing some of them because I think it's also important to get kids perspectives on things. And it's like not that I would have her on camera or not that like my kid equals all kids, but there's a lot to be said for when you put something in front of a child that's ostensibly for them and they could not care less. Like they're not interested at all. It's the same with like lots of kids movies where like you put it on, like the kid just leaves. It's like then you know that it's failed entirely, you know? Sometimes it feels like there's a disconnect between the people making kids media and the kids that it's actually for. Actually, a lot of times it feels like that. A lot. Doug, thank you very much. This is funner than flying naked. Is it? Tell that to the Samaritan. That's his dream over in Astro City. Just to be able to fly unaccosted by villains or clothes. So I do not think I'd want to fly naked. I would want to wear clothes. I don't trust people like that. It would have to be the middle of nowhere. And even then, I don't think so. Mm-mm. Not, I know too much about the world we live in today. Flying naked equals windburn. No thanks. It'd get cold. Invisible naked flying. See, but now you're adding powers on top of powers. You need like a secondary mutation or something to be able to fly naked. I can't say the word too many times. YouTube people like, what? Naked? The bots just awaken. They start swarming. Some people don't look up. Like Timothy Laird is saying, but people don't look up. Some people don't look up, but there are other people who like just glued up there. There's always that one person, and that's the person who's gonna whip their phone out and like, you know? Didn't he and Winged Victory have sex naked one time? Dr. J, most people have sex naked, but I know what you mean. The Samaritan and Winged Victory. I'm so close to doing that issue where they go on a date. It's very interesting because it's a terrible date, but the way they handle having different opinions in that issue is fascinating. And the fact that they still come out liking each other is actually believable. I think it's a very mature issue. You don't see stuff like that very much. It made their relationship make a lot of sense. Yeah, Steven, that's fair. That's what most of these live streams are like, though. Mike Hunt, thank you very much. Good starter kids comic manga. It has gone. It has no dialogue. It's a tiny dinosaur trying to find his place in nature and harassing local wildlife. I thought you were just like manga full stop. No, Gone is good. Gone is good. There's a, what was it? Princess Tutu? There's another one that's fun as well. None of my manga is kid appropriate, and it needs to I have to keep it away because it's just not appropriate. It's all like Junji Ito, Berserk, Hellsing, Monster, Chainsaw Man. Nothing for children. It just needs to stay far, far away. Well, Trigun, and even Trigun, but I don't have as much manga as I would like. So that's a part of my collection that is lacking. Yeah, Princess Tutu was really, really cute. I've never okay. I have not never read One Piece. I used to collect Shonen Jump when I was a teen, and One Piece was in there. But I fell off of it and I never got back on. It was never my favorite thing in the Jump. I remember liking Sanji, and that's about it. But it didn't make a big impression on me. In fact, some of the ones that I look back now, I'm like, why did I like this? Are the ones that made more of an impression. I was like, the Shaman King, let's go. You know? Let's do it. And she is for good boys and girls. Is he? I don't know. That whole comic or manga rather is just so down bad. Like it needs to calm down. Did you see that they made a petition? Like somebody made a petition to redo the anime. And I was like, why? I'm the worst with anime animation though, because some people are like, this is terrible, this blood. And I'm always like, I liked it. I used to have like, was it Yuri on Ice that one year? I was like, I liked it. And people were like, trash. Learn to like appreciate art. I was like, I liked. Why are you so angry? Oh. Cat someday says, when I was a kid, I watched Aliens, Predator, and a million other R-rated movies. Me too. Oh, good times. So many movies that I saw. I look back and I was like, how old was I when I saw this? Like, I was showing my husband Running Man the other day because he'd never seen it. And I was like, was I like 9? Like, when did I watch this? My dad had a very strange gauge as to like what you could or could not watch. It was a good time though. It was great. Those are some of my favorite memories are staying up with my dad watching all of these like action movies and stuff that I definitely was not of the age to see. I still to this day I'm trying to figure out how exactly I was allowed to watch RoboCop 2 but not 1. Oh, it was fun. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of like those old cheesy movies that I just like I bring up and my husband's never seen them. Like, well, I know what we're doing tonight because you cannot go through your life without watching Running Man, in my opinion. It's so silly. I love it. I love Running Man. Oh, 90s Outer Limits was great. I loved 90s Outer Limits so much. I have all of it now. That is one of those things where when box sets became a thing, I grew up, I was like, all of them. I grabbed all the Twilight Zone. I grabbed all the 80s Twilight Zone. I grabbed all the Outer Limits. The 90s one, I was just like, these is mine. You know, you can't take it away from me. Oh. As a kid, for some reason, graphic violence was okay, but not love. That's true. I remember watching Excalibur. And my dad made me turn around for all of like the sex scenes, but all the other stuff was fine. He was like, okay, turn around. And years later when I watched it, it was turn around, close your eyes and cover your ears. That's what I had to do for those scenes, and I could turn back around when they were done. But so years later, I finally watched it. I didn't have to turn around, and I was like, oh, this is what I had to turn around for, but I didn't have to turn around for the other stuff. And I was just like, oh yeah. That was always really funny, going back as an adult and seeing the things I didn't. Oh, but then there are some scenes when you're old enough to watch the entire movie with your parents and you wish you still had to turn around. Like, I think, what was the last time that happened? Watching Watchmen with my parents and that horrible sex scene to the like Leonard Cohen song. And I was just like, I wish I still had to turn around and cover my ears for this. I hate this is happening so much with my parents. Ah, that was funny. It was so awkward. Nyan Yan, thank you very much. 90s Outer Limits is a Canadian actor extravaganza. It really is. It really is. Oh, good times. One of the worst sex scenes ever shot. We are not going to get into ranking those. We'll get demonetized for sure. Oh gosh. That was at that awkward age. Like now it's fine and I can watch anything with my dad, but there's always that awkward transition period where it's just like, this is weird. uh Trying to think of some of the other things I saw too young. I don't think I was too young when I saw Dark Man. Yeah, I saw Dark Man. Anything with Arnold in it was like a must watch. Oh, of course, just movies my dad thought were really cool. I had to watch like The Thing, which I'm glad, even though The Thing terrified me. But like, he was like, The Thing, we're watching this. The Thing is great. The Thing, a bunch of old like The Blob, stuff like that. I'm trying to remember now. They're all blurring into like one giant super movie in my head. Not The Fly. No, I didn't get to see The Fly until I was older, and I was glad because my dad started to realize I had a thing about people mutating, and so at least those things, like, I didn't watch. It's funny, I never saw Return to Oz as a kid. I saw it years later, and then I was like, "I can see why this freaked people out." Like, that's a lot. Everything the parents like equals kids movies. That used to be the way. It's so true. It is so true. That's also how I saw a bunch of like romance movies with my mom, like lots of cheesy, like French Kiss, While We Were Sleeping, all of that kind of stuff. That's how I saw those. Ooh, or sometimes there was this hilariously weird overlap where they would like things together that I wouldn't expect, like Waiting to Exhale. Like my dad and my mom loved that movie, and I saw it so many times because of it. And then I subjected my husband to it, and I was like, this movie, I love it. It's so bad. I was like, I don't know if I actually love it or if it's just I saw it so many times. Oh, yeah, the 80s thing effects still are the thing is fantastic. The thing really holds up in all regards. Oh, or was I too young to see Starship Troopers? I don't think so. But I loved Starship Troopers. I still do. I'm doing my part. Comic Toby 420. Thank you very much. I got you. Did you see Avatar 2? No, and I probably won't. Um, it's hard to get, like a babysitter and stuff like that. I'm not spending my babysitter on that. I am taking my daughter to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, though. She's very excited for the Puss in Boots movie, so I think that will be a good time. And we're gonna do that. The last movie I saw was Black Adam. Black Adam was the last movie I saw out with my husband. Mm. Would you like to know? There are two very lackluster. Is it the two or three lackluster sequels to Starship Troopers? And I'll watch them anyway. I don't even care. But mm. Black Adam, that's a movie that happened. Well, since we're talking about it and I'm still in the mood to chat, I'm really enjoying chatting with all of you. And I don't think I'll ever get the chance to chat about this in any other forum. I did not enjoy Black Adam on a filmmaking level. I thought there was a lot wrong with it in an editing capacity, especially in the sound editing department. For me, it felt very choppy and like you could feel the different cuts in the different versions of the script that there had been in terms of tone and the way certain scenes were written. There were some parts of it that I liked, but on the whole, for me, it was very much a hodgepodge. And also some of the music selection was very, very try hard. Lots of the Some of the action scenes were cool, but the narrative did not support them. There was just a lot there. And like when they throw in things like Chase, and I'm like, I know who Chase is, but this is a very random deep cut to Chase of all people, or bizarre retcons like to Dr. Fate's helmet. And I'm like, in this movie, with all of like the mystic elements that you have going on, why would you retcon his helmet to like being like this random piece of alien tech? And even the things that work, they didn't establish enough, like Hawkman and Dr. Fate's friendship. And I was like, this is nice, but also I'm floating it with like my own comic knowledge. But it, so for me, it was just like, I didn't think it was very good on like those levels. I was very surprised when it got like like it's amazing or it's terrible. I was like, I don't feel like it really warrants either of those extreme reactions, but especially with the way some of those shots were handled. And even they do things like break the line of action a few times, which makes it confusing to follow at different points. I'm not sure why they did that. If they did it to be artistic or because it was cobbling together different reshoots that had been done at different points, or why else you would do that. I don't know. I don't know. But for me, I was just like, there was a good movie in there. And I was watching and I was like, oh, there was a good movie in here. And I think if it could have stuck to some of the things that I heard he wanted to do with it, I think that could have been really cool. But that was, alas, not the movie that was there. I also did not feel that they utilized the child actor very, very well in terms of his ability and range and the types of lines that they gave him, nor did they really use the relationship between him and Black Adam thematically as it could have been used based on the reveal that they give you later in the movie. So, yeah, those are some of my thoughts on Black Adam. But some things, most things I liked were visual. I was like, wow, Hawkman looks really cool. I like Aldous Hodge. Dr. Fate's powers look really cool. This fight looks cool. Those were most of the things that I enjoyed. You know, Black Adam looks cool. uh But that was just my opinion. Like, I know some people genuinely really enjoyed it. I'm glad. I'm like, if you go out and you spend money and you go to the movies, like, I hope you have a good time, especially these days. It's so bloody expensive. Like, expensive. Oh. It's catching up with what you're all saying now. The Rich and Mighty, thank you very much. I don't know if you covered this already, but Black Adam wasn't savage enough and doesn't work in a universe where Superman killed in the first film of this universe. I heard a rumor, Umbrella Academy it up. I heard a rumor that the Rock wanted to make it R-rated. And I felt like I could see some vestiges of that in the way some of the scenes were handled. I'm like, this movie could have been so hardcore, and it flirted at times with having actually some really interesting messaging to play with. I don't mean like messaging like, oh, it's gonna like lecture you or anything, but I mean like actually like thematically, there were some very interesting things that it almost played with, but then it never got there, unfortunately. And I was always like, oh, I'm so sad. It was almost interesting for 2 seconds. But no, I wish they had just made a villain movie. That would have been a great setup. But the thing is that by the time they dropped this movie, they already weren't planning on doing anything more with this universe really anyway. So it's kind of like, even if you had set him up as this villain who the people of his own land love him, and now you have this really dangerous powerhouse out there, it wasn't like they were really planning on doing anything with that anymore anyway. So, you know. Meow Yan, thank you very much. Pierce Brosnan was the best part. It'd be nice to see him as a ghostly mentor to Khalid, but that will never happen. More Pierce Brosnan in DC, please. I did like him as Dr. Fate. I did like him as Dr. Fate a lot, and I liked how they handled Dr. Fate's kind of precog abilities and just how tired he was throughout that. I didn't mind any of the JSA. And the thing with like say Cyclone and like Atom Smasher was that they didn't have anything to do. So they just sat there. It's like they're fine, but they also could have been cut entirely from the movie, and you could have just beefed up the other two because they didn't really have anything to do. And it was just a very interesting experience. I was like, wow, this is like some obscure GSA members for most regular people. And I need to sneeze. I don't want to. I don't want to. No. And it's just, for me, it is weird to have a Black Adam movie without Captain Marvel or Shazam in it. I do let them fight. Like, I do kind of want to see that if I'm going to see Black Adam. Like, they work nicely off of each other. Yeah, so I will not lose to the sneeze. I refuse. I refuse to lose. This is a stream where I will not sneeze. I will win. I will be victorious. But yeah, what did all of you think of it? Because I saw some of you say you really liked it. And you know how I feel about stuff like that. Like, people like what they like or don't like what they like, or like for whatever. It's totes fine. Though the green tornado girl, I'm Cyclone. That was Cyclone. Black Dynamite or Black? Oh, now I'm thinking about Black Dynamite. Oh, that was the other thing. Esteban Laura just talked about the special effects. I don't want to be catty. I'm not trying to be catty. It's just, it felt like whoever was in charge of handling the editing had just discovered the slow motion button for the first time, because so many, like, slow motion can be a great asset, and sometimes it can make a scene either work in terms of extending the flow and pacing of it, or it can be very just visually cool, which may be what you want. But this movie very much overused it to the point where it just became a thing that they just did, and it didn't always have a purpose, and so much slow-mo to the point where it felt like if you cut some of it, the movie would be shorter. So it was just a bit too much. Like, slow motion, like any of those kind of specific filter style effects, they're a spice. If you use them too much to the point where they become very noticeable, they've been overused. Because that's the thing with those effects. They're meant to be accents. They're not supposed to be something that actually pulls you out and you now are having your attention drawn to it. There's a real art to utilizing certain special effects. And in a lot of films, they're vastly overused, be it the green screening, the slow motion, the lens flare. There are so many things that it's just like you go into the studio and just like crank it up to 11. We need all the slow motion, put it in. And the thing is that the movie wasn't even short. So it's not like you had to pad it, like we it longer, add more slow motion. I felt like the editor was left over from Zack Snyder's team. I wanted Hawkman to say, "If I die, I get to see Shayera," but nope. Listen, that would have required too many deep cuts into canon to make that happen. The Rich and Mighty, thank you very much. I thought it was dumb fun, but Mr. Mind is Captain Marvel / Shazam's best villain. I'm so frustrated that he won't be in any movie until the new DCU reintroduces Billy. I know. I'm so sad. I love Mr. Mind. Mr. Mind is one of those ideas that is right up my alley. It just makes me so happy. It's the little vengeful caterpillar. And I'm just like, I love it. I love everything about it. It's so silly that for me it goes around and just becomes amazing. So good. More star wipes. I saw a movie as a star wipe the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, a star wipe. I got so excited. I mean, if we're gonna go full CG and stuff, like, come on, give me my caterpillar, and you can still build him up. You can make a little, make him a little animatronic and like move him around. It's like, come on, I just want this one thing. Uh, Comic Toby, thank you very much. Can you do a Tiger Division video? I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Aside from like the next couple of videos, I don't even know if my soft serve video is gonna make it like before the new year or after, or like what's gonna happen there. I scheduled like a YouTube meeting like 2 days before my baby's due. Like I'm just living life on the edge. The Rich and Mighty, thank you very much. Mr. Mind video went. It should be soon. I got really enthusiastic about that. So J-Bot has a question for all of you. Am I the only one excited for James Gunn's DC direction so far? That's a good question. That's it's for you. It's for you. If you've been here a while, you know I'm a wait and see type of person. I will wait and see how things turn out. That doesn't mean I don't have opinions or thoughts or like feel like things are going in a positive or negative direction. It just means that at the end of the day, whatever those feelings may be, you could always be wrong. I mean, you could be right, but you could be wrong. So cautiously optimistic. General wait and see. When am I due? February 16th. February 16th. We are nearly there. We are nearly there. I'm excited. It's one of those things where I totally could have hidden it like I did with the second pregnancy last time. But at the same time, it was like, why hide it? I felt comfortable enough to share it. So I did. It's a thing that's happening. I don't mind chatting about it every now and again. I hope I'm not chatting about it too much, but it was, this is going to sound weird, but it was nice to feel comfortable to talk about it because, sometimes the internet can be a bit intense. So it was nice to feel that this was like a nice space and community to be able to share that. So, Baby Hal, oh my God. No, definitely not. Definitely not Baby Hal. That is not the name. We have a name. It's not that. Oh gosh. I'm curious. I like the DC characters obviously. So there were some things it would be fun to see. I'd like to see a more well executed Green Lantern movie. I don't hate the first Green Lantern movie as much as a lot of people do, but it could definitely be a lot better executed. It would be cool to see that. I hear they're still doing that Green Lantern show, TBD if it happens. That would be cool if they can pull it off. I like Green Lantern. Speaking of the Aqua Baby Wizard of Wordplay, somebody found me the issue where he's named. I'm going to do that. I was very excited. I was like, not all heroes wear capes. Some of them still have their long boxes and go through them and find the issue that you referenced, which was awesome. The baby name is Aqua Baby. You know, somewhere, there's a person who would do that. Jay Parker, thank you very much. That is very appreciated. Happy holidays, and happy holidays to you as well. I hope everybody had a nice holiday season for whatever they are celebrating. It was nice to have Christmas on a weekend this year, I have to say. Oh, I made a pepper pot, like I said, and I was very happy with how it turned out. I hadn't made a pepper pot in a couple of years, so it was very good. I went to the store and I thought they gave me too much oxtail, but they did not, so I was very pleased. But it turned out well. I could not convince my children to try it, but that is par for the course with pepper pot. So when they're older, they'll try it. When I was a kid, I didn't want to try it either. So I totally understand that. Pepper pots. No, pepper pot is a food. Pepper pot is a food. In my family, it's a traditional Christmas food. Most people say it's Caribbean, but for us, it's Guyanese. And we make it every year with lots of casreep, and I use beef. Some people use goat, and some people use pork. But like I use beef, I use oxtail, I use cowfoot, all of that stuff. It's pretty traditional. I don't change it up too much. This year I flirted with making a black cake, but I did not because I waited too long and I did not have time to get it set. So next year, because you have to take a long time to set those cakes. So no, you're all just making pepper pots jokes and it's appreciated. If it's a boy, name him Franklin Richards. Oh my gosh. Why? So he can be retconned years later? No, I wouldn't do that to him. Baby Reed. And the baby needs to be part of the name. Like it's not just Reed, it's Baby Reed. Can you imagine doing that to some poor child? It's like, it's not whatever, it's baby whatever. No. Valeria. Oh, people have so many questions. They'd be like, why Valeria? But then it's like, I have a Russian name for no reason. So, you know, it would be on brand, I guess. Strider, that is a good question. Are you planning on any pregnancy related hero videos? I answered this last time, but I'll answer it again. I was going to, and I had full intention to, but I find that I just get too salty and not in a way that I enjoy. So I'm just like, nah, you know, I don't want to do that. And, you know, just sit here and give like basically would be a lecture on like, hey, you can't do this because you can't jump, because your hips move apart, because you can't, because your center of gravity changes, because these things can hurt the baby, because you can feel the baby, and like all the things that make all the things they do in comics like super unrealistic. I'm like, I don't think anybody needs to be lectured in that way. Let's talk about Lois. You know? Let's talk about Lois and some other fun things that I've found. Maybe if it comes up in a video that I'm doing, but like a specific dedicated video, like maybe not. Her full name is Valeria Caitlin Jordan Von Du. Oh gosh, I do like Caitlin. Can you imagine? Everybody be like, Caitlin? Be like, no, Caitlin. There was a Martha moment in that Spawn Batman crossover where they were like, Martha is just like Wanda. whole comic. Why? More toxic Lois, please. Oh, isn't Spider-Verse J. Drew yes. Yes, and I noticed, and it bothered me. But it's fine, it's fine. I know it's meant to be an empowerment fantasy. One last complaint, and then I'll put it back down in the box where I keep it normally, which is to do regular things when you're pregnant can be a Herculean effort at times. And to have these things come out and be all like, but you could be doing more, it kind of feels like it's devaluing how much effort it is to just do the regular things. I know that's not the intent, but that can be the vibe. It was like the one part of Dune that I hated that they changed for this adaptation where like she walks across the desert pregnant in the first trimester, no water, no nothing, walking across the desert. And at the end, they make her do a fight scene because she wouldn't be hardcore if she didn't still fight. And I'm like, do you know how difficult it is to get even through like a few hours without food or anything like that early? No, she does not need to fight anything. Stop it. It's enough. Basically, it's like just doing the basics. It's enough. You don't need to do more to make it more impressive. You are already impressive. There we go. Okay, it's going back in the box. It's back in. It's crushed down deep in the depths of my soul. Keep it down there. Mike Hunt, thank you very much. A great pregnancy comic from the 90s. AI's baby. A male mafia boss gets pregnant. No one cracks wise to his about it. Super funny, great art. I'll look into that. I mean, I'll look into that. That sounds kind of fun. Lex. Not even Alexander, just Lex. Oh, boss baby. The rich and mighty. Thank you very much. I'm gonna wait, but Gunn is too into deconstruction to helm the main heroes of DC. He's good for things like Secret Six or Doom Patrol, though. Secret Six. There's something I haven't thought about in a long time. Apex Lex. Stop it. Apex Lex. I liked Secret Six a lot back in the day. I really did. That'd be fun. Petition for Casually Comics name her baby Punchline. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even name her Alexis. I talk about it too much now. The End King. Maybe a pregnant superhero should be a sniper, far removed from the fight scene. Okay, here's a plot I would love to see. They kind of did it with Sue. Okay, it's coming back out of the box, but it's calmer now. Which is taking time off and having to stop what you do can be very difficult. Be it your job, be it just having the energy to do the normal amount of stuff that you do, it can be difficult and you notice it and it can be trying and draining and upsetting. And having that just be okay. Just be like, that's fine. Like, you're doing enough, like, and to have that, be like, okay, like you need to take a break and that's good. That taking the break is the good thing. That would be nice to see. It doesn't have to happen every time. And again, as mentioned, like superhero things, they're fantasies. Like I understand why they don't do that. You wanna see people fighting and having fun and like doing all that kind of like scrolls. And I get it. I totally do. It's just everybody has their thing. Like everybody has their thing, and it's different for everybody. That just bothers them. And whenever you have one of those things, people are always like, well, why this and not that? It's like, I don't know. It's like how my dad was a locksmith. And so whenever we watched a heist movie, he'd be like, he's not lockpicking right. Like, it's like everybody has their thing. So let me just ask, like, what is your thing? What is the thing that like you look at? And even though you know that it's not intended in any kind of way and that like it can be viewed as fun and everything, it just bothers you. Like, tell me, what is your thing? Everybody has that. My thing. Share your thing. Comic Toby, thank you very much. Do you know Blight? Do I? Hollywood, if she could. I very much appreciate that Cool World reference. I do. I love Cool World. I also saw that when I was way too young. Oh, I genuinely enjoy Cool World, even though it's not good, and it drove Ralph Bakshi to never want to draw again, which is very sad, but I do still enjoy that movie. Oh, the child. Buffy. I'm loving all of these names. The century guy when people in movies claim to be from the Caribbean is just Jamaica. Comic Toby, thank you very much. Radiation is forever. No, no, no. The line is radiation never dies. Pretty much every space-based movie or any computer activity. The Rich and Mighty, thank you very much. You say, my thing is romanticism of disability. As a person bound to a wheelchair, just treat me normal. I'm really enjoying reading what your guys' things are. I really appreciate it. Radiation is a great name. No. Oh my gosh, RAD for short. My thing is medical equipment. Whenever I see a scene where they use a defibrillator to restart a heart, I get annoyed. CPR restarts hearts. Defibrillators only correct arrhythmias. My thing, when writers put out a book and entire bookshelves are just that one book, I want that publisher. Hacking portrayed in NCIS. Hacking's always funny because hacking is always portrayed as like super epic. Any children's movie where a carnivore was trained to eat fruits and plants by the heroes. Hated that as a kid. Yeah, it's like I said, like everybody has their like little thing, but like, do you ever find like you get really like, like about it? And I'm like, I don't want to get like I make these videos for fun and so that we can all have fun together. I don't want to come on and be like, meh, like a little gremlin, go full gremlin mode. Or is it goblin mode? What's the meme this year? I don't even know. Oh. My thing is zoom and enhance. We don't have all it would do is pixelate the image. The friendship was the true power trope. Listen, the trope was the friends that we made along the way. Non-Bostonian actors trying Boston accents. Ah, it is Goblin, yes. Goblin mode and Super Gremlin. Anything set in high school. Oh, that must be difficult because so many, like, all of the depictions of high school. I don't know. None of them match the school I went to, at least. Sandalwood. Dr. J, I hate the power of friendship. It doesn't work. You see, isn't this more fun than going through like the how annoyed I am about that pregnancy trope? This is much more fun. My thing, highly trained assassins and marksmen, missing every single shot. High school, but everyone is clearly 20 and 30. Mm. Having more than one comic relief in a flick. My thing, someone saying, stay with me during a death scene. Yeah, like, remember the college trope too where nobody goes to class ever? It's just they're just at university, but they never go and they never hand in an assignment and they never do anything and it's just fine. It was all a dream. It was all a dream is hard to pull off. Like, to pull it off and make it feel like you did not waste your time, that is an art form. My thing is when there's a shootout and no one gets hit until they do. Never saying goodbye when they hang up the phone. That is something I noticed in movies. I remember just people would just hang up and I'd be like, why is everybody hanging up on everybody? I have never once not said goodbye to somebody before I've hung up the phone. It's horrifying to me. Not that I call many people anymore. I text people now. I should call more people. Guns that never need reloading. Broken glass not being an issue. The Supergirl series, Tyler says, is all the person who hides they have been shot / bitten / infected. Oh yeah, that person. Splitting up for no reason in horror movies. Yeah, for real. I would never split up. Like if anything was sketch, I was like, no, we're staying together. You need to be together in a group. There's strength in numbers. My thing. On every car chase, there are no red lights or traffic jams ever. They always pick up on the first ring. Yeah. Die Hard, just Die Hard. Mom makes dinner just for everyone to grab a banana and leave. That's sadly not that unrealistic. There are a few things as humbling as being a parent and making an entire meal and then just having people just be like, eh. And then or trying a bite because you have to try something. That's the rule, at least in my house. You gotta at least try it. Just be like, meh. And it's like, I'm so sad now. It's so sad. Or when you can tell there is humor in you, like, it's great. Seeing regular trees and plants on alien planets. Somebody saying, let me explain, and nobody ever listens. Not knowing someone is in their back seat. I know, right? I always check the back seat. Like I'm obsessed because I saw like a thing once where someone was in the back seat. I'm like, no, always checking the back seat, always locking the door. All of those things, like those things need to be happening. The plot twist that everyone's been dead all along. The obnoxious guy trying hard to flirt with someone who isn't interested, but ends up with that person romantically at the end of the film. People wearing shoes while sitting on the couch in their own home. Some people do that. The we're the same you and I villain speech. I hate and love that trope because so often it's not true. I'm like, the very least you can do if you're going to do this speech is at least have some shocking way that it is true. That you owe me that much if you're going to bring that up. I did enjoy in World's Finest number 10, the most recent one, where they start screaming about how we do use all of our brains. And I'm like, thank you. That's another trope I have, that we only use 10% of our brains. I'm like, stop it. Get some help. Oh. Literally nobody having good chemistry with each other. I kind of like romance movies where the people have no chemistry. It makes it very funny to watch. Last baby name suggestion, soft serve. Listen, when we go into the soft serve saga, as it's called in some circles, it's a good time. It's a good time. But I'm hungry all of a sudden, so I need to go do something about that. So thank you very much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. It will be the last stream for 2022. Maybe soft serve will be up before the new year. I hope it will, but we will see what happens, happens. Whatever will be, will be. So thank you very much. And I will see you all again soon when I can. This was lots of fun. Oh, well, let me end this poll. Thanks for playing with the poll feature with me. And just, yeah, I will see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.